You know, when they joke that real estate can be a killer, in this situation, that almost proved to be a little too true. Today I'm going to share probably my favorite, worst horror story that happened to me in real estate. So much to learn from it. At one point I actually thought that it was going to kill me. I'm glad that it didn't because I really love my life and I love making these videos for you. So please learn from my mistakes.
'Cause we're gonna be legends. What we're doing here ain't just scary. It's about to be legendary.
You know, there's so much that can be learned from a good horror story, and unfortunately this one is my own. Back in the early days of investing, when I was still learning my systems, I was venturing into out-of-state real estate for the very first time, and I was definitely more of a go big or go home kind of person. When 2008 hit, so many homes started slamming back on the banks that even banks were going out of business. I remember that I got a tape of homes. That means I was able to buy a whole bunch of homes in one big block. It was like 300 homes. And I got them for just over $1 million. So I was basically getting the homes for like a 95% discount, a 93% discount in Ohio and Michigan. I was really excited about this. I actually flew my team out. They investigated almost every single property. We got back the information and we decided to pull the trigger and buy these homes. And I was thinking to myself, I'm gonna make a quick $10 million. This is the best investment I will have ever made in my life. Mind you, this video is what I call a cautionary tale. As you might guess, it didn't work out. You know, I didn't have knowledge at the time that markets were different than my market in Utah. Ohio behaved differently. Detroit behaved differently. On paper, things look good. The numbers didn't tell me the full story about the incomes people made, and more importantly, the mentality. As in, like, in these neighborhoods, these ghettos, there's a mentality that the world owes me something and I can take what I want and there's no consequences. What started off as an exciting investment, here's where it went bad. I borrowed the money to do the investment, and this man was a Jewish Iranian. He gave me $1.1 million, and it was supposed to be a short-term deal because I said, hey, I'm gonna fix these properties up. I got enough to buy, I'm gonna fix them up, I'm gonna sell them, and you'll get your money back. But within 6 months of turning our first properties and trying to sell them, we're like, wait a second. These homes aren't selling, we're lowering the price. Why are the taxes on these homes for $80,000 and $100,000 and I can't even sell the home for 30 grand? And I started getting my first real world lesson that a really great deal on paper does not mean it's a good deal. And we got to the point where we were selling some of these houses only for $10,000 and $15,000 after putting 10 grand into them. So we were getting massively backwards and upside down. The worst point of this, where it like freaked me out and I actually felt like my life was in danger, was this Jewish Iranian, won't tell you his name, but he started calling me every single day. He would say, Kris, how are you doing in getting my money back? And it sounded like the mafia. And he's like, Kris, I would hate for something bad to happen if I don't get my money. I'm like, that kind of sounds like a threat. No, Kris, it's not a threat. It's a promise. I've given you my money. I know you'll pay me back. Freaked me out. Well, turns out that I was on a family trip in Hawaii. I was there with my wife and her family. I'll never forget getting this phone call and feeling that threat come through the phone. I'm like, I'm supposed to be enjoying paradise and I'm sweating, beads off my brow, but not because it's hot, but because I'm terrified of this man that I'm speaking. I was young. I'd never been in this situation before. You better believe learning was happening. Well, what ended up happening was he would call me every day, and about a month later, I still had no way of getting his money back. I was freaking out. I remember I was sitting in my office looking out my window, and all of a sudden this black SUV drives in to the parking lot. And these 4 Middle Eastern men in really sharp suits get out with like these duffel bags. And I'm like, my mind goes nuts. I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't have this guy's $1 million. They're here to smoke me. There's guns in those things. Those are reinforcements. It's a black car. And I kid you not, I was terrified. Like my heart leapt. I'm like, what's happening? And they walk in the building and I'm on my knees. I kid you not. I look down the hall and I'm trying to figure out what they're here for, just waiting for someone to point at my office and they're all gonna walk in and it's gonna be over. I'm like, do I run? What do I do? I was paralyzed. Oh man, it just freaking brings up the chills thinking about it right now. I found out that these 4 guys were here during a lunch break to do custom suit fittings for the local employees that wanted to get a custom made suit. And I was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? They're not here to kill me. I remember after that, I was very motivated after that moment. Within 30 days, I got the $1 million. I paid the man back. I was done. I took a bath on that real estate, guys. I got so spanked. My losses hurt so bad. I still feel a few of those cramps. But there's some really good things that came out of this. And one of the things that I learned was be careful who you borrow money from. But the other thing that I learned was, why did our strategy fail? Because I learned how to then go into how to evaluate and find the very best markets in the country, meaning the markets that have the highest ROIs, have the nicest mentality of people, find the markets where the prices are still low for the earnings in the area and people can afford double the house in this market than they could afford in a different market. Like, I'm in Florida right now and the affordability is through the roof on these $160,000 homes. But you can imagine that New York and LA and Seattle, the affordability is the opposite direction. So I learned how to master out of state. And these days, I only buy out of state. I don't buy in my backyard. I buy in the very best markets. There are 324 markets, and 5 of them are the best at any given moment. And those are the only markets that I play in. I've made way more money than obviously I lost during that stressful time. But I just wanted to kind of share with you that I've had bad things happen to me, and that's helped make me the man that I am. And so in real estate, in the game, if you ever face something traumatic, if something doesn't go your way, if you took a loss, in the moment you're thinking it's the worst possible thing. You're wrong. You have an expensive mistake on your hands, but if you learn from it, you have the chance to come back and win even bigger. If you want to know how to do that at the next level, or you don't have a system, get a copy of this book. I'm giving it to you for free. It's a gift from me to you. Just cover the shipping on it. I'm going to send this out to you, and it will give you a how-to manual on how to make $50,000 to $100,000 on every house that you do. How to cash flow $500 a month on every house that you do. How to get paid $5,000 up front just for doing the deal. That's a gift from me to you. The second one is that for any of you out there that are saying, Kris, sounds like you've had the learning curve. What if I want to skip to the top and get access to the very best deals today? You can talk with my team and they can share that with you today. Because right now I'm buying an amazing house every single day, and that next one might be for you. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure that you subscribe, like the channel, share it with other people, put it on your social media if you're getting value out of this, and definitely leave some feedback in the comments below, because we read those, I read those, and we love to learn and grow. Take care, my friend. Talk soon.